The best lightsaber stances in Star Wars Jedi Survivor provide players and Cal Kestis with immense power, fitting for a Jedi Knight taking charge against the Empire and the dreaded forces that threaten the balance. Each has its own unique advantages, so today, let's rank the 5 stances of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 5, the Crossguard Blade. The Crossguard style is by far the heaviest, and players might struggle to move around and swing effectively. The Crossguard stance is reminiscent of heavy greatsword weapons featured in RPGs, and players will see high risk and high reward due to their slow swing times yet hard damage outputs. However, this makes the weapon almost useless due to players being open to an attack with limited and slowed window to react and block. It does the most damage in the game, and it can take a lot of damage in return. But is the Crossguard stance in Jedi Survivor really worth investing time into? For action RPG fans used to this style of gameplay, maybe, but sacrificing speed is hard, especially when laser blasts are continuously erupting from all sides. Players have to be methodical and slow if they want to use this lightsaber stance to its fullest potential, and some may just not have the patience. Number 4, Blaster and Blade. The Blaster stance in Star Wars Jedi Survivor is surprisingly well balanced. It is an average dual-wielding stance in the game, as Cal has a single lightsaber in one hand and a blaster that he got from Bode in the other. At first, the amount of ammunition is limited, as is the overall moveset for this stance, leaving much to be desired. But a few upgrades in the skill tree will boost Cal's abilities with the Blaster stance. This is a better stance to take than the single formation because it gives the players that option of range. There are a lot of enemies that fly around in the late game, and while the Force can't reach them, a well-timed shot from Cal's blaster should even the playing field and allow players to unlock their inner Han Solo.
You will regret that.
Number 3, Single Blade. The single stance in Star Wars Jedi Survivor is an old but reliable setup most Jedis in the series use. There's nothing wrong with going with the classic stance that famous Jedi have mastered, such as Luke, Skywalker, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Cal primarily used this stance throughout his journey in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order until the double-bladed lightsaber was unlocked in the late game. The stance has balanced stats from speed to defense to attack power. Its blocking power is good too and can deflect blasts back at enemies in an instant. There are also some great upgrades to buy in the skill tree to make the lightsaber feel stronger, like Cyclone Slash. It's not as flashy as some of the newer stances, but it will never betray players. Sometimes the classics remain classic for a reason. Number 2, the double-bladed staff. The double-bladed stance is an iconic weapon thanks to Darth Maul in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The double-bladed lightsaber setup is just as cool in Star Wars Jedi Survivor as it is in that movie, but players might have to play more defensively than they like, as that truly benefits the double-bladed lightsaber staff. It strikes rather weak in comparison to other blades, but is fast enough to be good defensively. The impressive set of upgrades in its skill tree make it worthwhile, as players can destroy groups of enemies easily. Repulsing Burst, for example, is like a ground pound that will deal damage to enemies in a certain area next to Cal. Vortex Dive is another good one that will spin towards enemies like a Jedi-driven plane. It's overall just really good, especially due to its high stamina potential. Number 1, dual-wield blades. What's better than using one lightsaber to slay hundreds of enemies like stormtroopers or battle droids in a game? Using 2. Every fan dreams of dual-wielding one of these epic weapons, let alone 2. There aren't many Jedi in this franchise that use 2 lightsabers as Cal can in this game. The dual blades reward players who like going in on the offensive, as these lightsabers hit hard and fast, but players have limited stamina to block and parry. Dual-wield stance in Star Wars Jedi Survivor has a lot of speed and power to back up its agility. There are some great skills associated with this stance though, like being able to throw both lightsabers at once. Plus, the auto counter is a great mechanic. The overall setup looks cool visually, but the execution wasn't quite there. Twin lightsaber daggers instead of full-bladed beams may have been more interesting, like some sort of Jedi assassin. So that was our ranking for the stances in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and we hope you enjoyed.